Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I am so very excited to have you guys here tonight. This is a week of revival and a week of survival. Yes, I am so excited that you've tuned in. Each night here on the broadcast, we're going to have true stories. I mean, the true stories range from sex trafficking, domestic violence, fights with CPS, you name it. It's all right here coming up this week. I am so excited. Listen, we have been preparing for this week for a while now. So I'm going to tell you right now and prepare you that this week you're going to experience some revolution. It's going to brew inside of you. You're going to get so excited about some of these shows and some of the information that's coming to you. But for some of you, it's going to be revelation. You're going to learn some things. You're going to confirm some things about what you've been going through, and you're going to hear a word that's for you. So you can't miss, not one night can you miss. So the way you do that is make sure that you are subscribed to the Ella Johnson Show on YouTube, right? Yeah, that's how we do that. So make sure you're subscribed. Tonight's show is going to be amazing. I have Niecy Hamilton. She is coming on here tonight to share her true story about sex trafficking. She is a survivor. And then later on tonight in the broadcast, I have Stacy Sunletter, who's going to come on and she's going to chime in and give us a legal aspect. And I can tell you right now, some of the stats, some of the things that she's going to talk about, they are alarming. But this is a very important topic. That is why I chose to start out with sex trafficking, human trafficking, because it actually is an issue in our country, guys. And it's kind of like that dirty secret, but it's not going to be as dirty secret anymore because we're going to bring it all right here on the Ella Johnson Show tonight. Now, it's going to probably take more than one show to unpack this situation, but we're going to start with it tonight. So I want you guys to know, for starters, that sex trafficking, it's not something that you can notice in a crowded room. It's not something that you can actually see happening like you could a carjacking or a kidnapping. It's not something you can just see. But I will say this, that there are several millions, in fact, of people who are in an active sex trafficking situation, and they're just not aware of it because of how they've been groomed. Yeah, the grooming process makes you vulnerable, and it happens in a way that you consent to this commercial sex and this forced labor, right? Not knowingly. So that's all coming up tonight. I do not want you to miss this broadcast. So do me a favor. Y'all know the ropes. Y'all know how we do it. Go ahead and share the broadcast. If you're on Facebook, share the broadcast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. LinkedIn, please subscribe, as well as Esteem TV. Yes, the Ella Johnson Show is showing live right now in Africa. Yes, y'all know I have connections, right? But anyway, I am excited that you are here. Don't go anywhere. And after this break, we will be right back. It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. I'm so excited that you've taken time out to tune in to the Ella Johnson Show. I hope you enjoy the broadcast. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you at the end of the show. You know, one day someone asked me, Ella, why do you do talk shows? Like, why is this so important to you? I said, because I want people to know that God does use us. Because sometimes things don't happen to you. They happen through you. And now it's time for the Ella Johnson Show, where we set the table for real talk conversations. So stay tuned. It's all coming up next. The Ella Johnson Show. And we're back, guys. Listen, if you are just tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, well, you haven't missed anything. We are excited that you have tuned in because, listen, you could be doing anything else tonight, but you decided to stay with us tonight for the Ella Johnson Show for this revival and survival. Yes, we have so many survival stories this week. And tonight we are starting with Dr. Nisi Hamilton. She is in the house. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? She's
Hey
so big
y'all.
and so hard to get, guys. So listen, you have a queen in your presence tonight. I am so
Praise the
excited
Lord.
that you took time out, Dr. Nisi, to share your story with us tonight because I did not realize, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't realize how human trafficking has become an issue in this country.
Mhm.
And the stats that I ran across, the stories, I've been watching human trafficking stories all weekend. So I am just blown and I'm excited and honored that you're here. But I want everybody to know who she is. Dr. Nisi Hamilton. She is the founder and CEO of Nisi's Network. She is a survivor of human trafficking. She's an activist, an international motivational speaker, and a mother of 8. It is very rare that I meet people who have more kids than I do, but I did today. She is a mother of 8 and she is married to Chef Kenneth for 4 years.
Yes.
Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show, Dr. Nisi.
Thank you so much, Miss Ella. It is an honor to be here to serve you and your audience and really just get down to the nitty gritty, you guys. So forgive me that my voice is raspy. If you know me, I'm constantly on a plane. I just landed back in Houston on yesterday, and then I had like four other events to do on today, and not only that, running, my shelters and stuff that I do with the girls and stuff. So I was with some of the girls earlier today, and it's a lot of work, but you have to divide your time amongst everybody. So
Well, listen, you are doing some incredible things. We're going to hear all about it. But before we do that, I want everybody to take a look at this video just so you can get to know her just a little bit better. All right, guys?
I am Dr. Nisi Hamilton, and I am a survivor of human trafficking. When I was 15, I had aged out of foster care and I was homeless. And I remember running to a homegirl who told me, hey, I have a solution for your problem. I work as a waitress at a strip club. You can use my ID to work at another strip club while I work at this strip club. And all you're doing is waitressing. You make money. My boyfriend will keep your baby. And hey, you'll be good. As the boyfriend's keeping my baby, he goes, you can't get your kid back unless you make me $200 a day. He's going to the strip club bragging about how much money he's making off of me. And there's another pimp that's sitting in the club. He sends a message to the girls that he's already pimping out to me that I can make $200 a day faster if I'm no longer a waitress, but a stripper, because he wants to see what am I willing to give up or what am I willing to sacrifice. That was barrier testing. Let me test your limits. The betrayal comes in. Baby, you ain't been working. It's hard for me to get your hair and your nails done like I used to. I need you to bring in some money. So we're talking about from 15 to 19. I had already been trafficked and sleeping with every bit of about 1,500 men at this point. I made a decision to enlist into the Navy without my pimp knowing about it. And when he found out, I still got beat. And I remember begging the officer, please don't arrest me. Please don't arrest me. I said, I'm leaving to the Navy. This is the only chance. This is the only chance I got to get away. I need you to help me. And he looked at me and he said, I believe you. But had I been arrested that night, I wouldn't have survived human trafficking.
whew.
Oh, ooh. What is that when you watch that again? Because listen, girl, when I watched that, I was just like, oh, that goes to the heart. What does
Yeah,
that
for
feel like
real.
watching it again? What does that feel like watching that again?
Every time I see it, I always get teary eyed, and I don't know why, because I know my own story. Even when I tell my story, even today as a motivational speaker, I can be anywhere telling my story, and I will be right in the middle of telling my story, and I'll start to relive the very
Yeah,
experience that I'm talking about, and I'll start to cry. And it's hard. To relive something that you lived through. Just as much as y'all are amazed, I'm amazed too, because I have to step back and say, like, dang, Nisi, like,
yeah,
yo, you
yeah.
supposed to been dead a long time
Oof.
ago. Even if you go and look at the ACEs, right? And it's ACES, ACEs. And ACEs is basically like the system that they use to kind of measure the amount of trauma that a child goes through when they're growing up in life, and it determines how long the life expectancy of that child should be. So according to what I went through, which has all been documented, because the state of Texas, and we'll get into that, I should have been dead at 25.
Yeah.
I'm 36 years old. And I just want to say I just had a birthday October 30th, and I made 36
Yay.
by the grace of God.
By the
And
grace of
so
God.
I just
Yes.
got to do this shameless plug because I am Republican. I know, you know, listen, whatever political party you belong to, that's your business. But I believe in freedom. And I just want to say I share a birthday with one of our founding fathers, John Adams, who was our second president of the United States. And one of the things that he believed in was independence. He
Right.
fought for freedoms. And so
Yeah.
those are the type of things that remind me all the time why I do what it is that I do, because this is the America that I want to fight for. And we have to constantly be in transition when we're talking about human trafficking, because somebody's got to be in control of the American conversation when it comes down to human trafficking. It can't just be one type of trafficking. It can't just be older white vans, because you'll have a
Right.
bunch of mothers out here looking for white vans and not
Yeah.
be thinking about your 15-year-old child who just
Say
became a
it.
teen mom, and not
Yeah.
even think about a man taking her children and using her children as hostage. And you might be seeing her every day, but you don't know she got something going on in the background because she don't want her family in any harm.
Right.
When we hear force, fraud, coercion, we think about the force and we focus on the force, but we don't think about the fraud or the coercion part. You see, you can't
Right.
see coercion.
Yeah. That's right.
You don't know.
That's
And
right.
then think about fraud. You don't know something fraudulent has happened until you go investigate it. And when do you investigate it? Typically, it's something accidental. You got to go look for a charge. Wait a minute, I don't know that charge. Hold on,
Right.
I ain't never seen that charge. Well, what you mean $70? What you mean $40? It's not
Absolutely.
something that is on the forefront right away. It's something that fraud sneaks up on you.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of that grooming and all of that comes into play, and that's why
Absolutely.
it is such a big business right now, guys. I don't know if you guys understand this, but human trafficking is billions of dollars that's earned through it.
Right. It's a
Billions. I'm talking about
$90 billion industry. And I'll
99
tell
billion to be
anybody,
exact. Yeah.
yeah, it's $90 billion, but I'll tell anybody, especially if you're a mother, study the enemy while you have time. Because
Yeah.
the enemy got all the time to study you.
That's right.
He's studying your habits. He's studying your children. He's studying where you're lacking. He's studying how you spend your time away from your children. He's studying your girls' night out. He's
Yeah.
studying how your husbands don't pray and cover your children, but you do. He's studying all of this stuff.
Yes. Absolutely.
He's
Very.
studying your sneaky links, your side pieces. He's studying how
Oh,
witchy watchy you are. He's
oh,
studying all of this stuff because he
not the
knows that
side pieces.
as long as you away from your children and you ain't got time to be calculating about the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely want us to get into that because it is very, very key that parents that are watching this broadcast, we have to wake up. We have to wake up with this social media and our kids. This thing is getting bigger and we're going to fall asleep. We are falling asleep because it's getting bigger. And we can't be so, guided by what people say we should be doing. We got to get in tune, like you say, with God and understand and get our household covered 100%. But I know we're not going to go in detail tonight, Dr. Nisi, because she has a book coming out, guys, and you're not going to hear any of those details. So if you're waiting on it, we're not giving you the name or any of that, but she is working on a book. So we want to make sure that we just kind of touch the surface. I want to go back to the young girl in the video, Dr. DC. She was what, 15, 16 years old?
Yes, so my birthday runs late. So I aged out of foster care at 14. And when I say aged out, meaning the reunification process back home was between me and one other adult, which was my grandmother. And so she became my SMC. And the SMC is a sole managing conservator. So this she became SMC without, my father being involved and without, my mother being involved. And it wasn't that my mother wasn't involved. The other option before she was SMC was for me to be emancipated. And
Mm,
because I told the state no once the offer was on the table, then it was like, okay, well, then what do we do? about this, semi-adult kid. She can, take care of herself, and I want you to understand something, guys. We're talking about, so when I was 14, this was the early 2000, and if I had been emancipated, what was on the table was, free college, which I would have got free college anyways. But free college, and basically my grandmother would have been getting a check for having me in her house for room and board because I was, emancipated. Basically, I had divorced my mother. Well, it would have been stupid for me to emancipate because I would have been divorcing only one parent. I never knew who my other parent was.
Right.
So how can you divorce a child from anybody and you don't know who the parents are?
Right.
And so this was a very tricky situation. That's just the legal aspect of it. By the time I made the decision that I wasn't going to divorce my mother, part two was that family reunification. There was no unifying because I was in a position where I was able to make an adult decision. The adults came down on me like I was an adult instead of remembering that I was a child.
Oh
Oh, I was
wow.
stupid. I was stupid because I didn't get a check. I was stupid because I wanted to live in hardship. I was stupid. And then it was like, I thought y'all wanted because y'all love me. I didn't know this was a quid pro quo type of thing. I didn't know I was coming back home based on a check. And back
Wow.
then, everything was based on the check. So in my
Yes.
mind, there's some buying and selling going on in my
Yes.
head instead of some love and protection.
Right.
There was none of
S-
that.
So you found yourself in a situation where you're out of foster care, then what?
Well, I had to defend myself. First, I had to defend myself against my own family's opinions about a decision that I wasn't clear on, right? Because the Bible tells
Right.
you to honor your mother and your father. Well,
That's
how do
right.
you honor your mother if you're divorcing your mother? I've never
Exactly.
heard of anything like this. I've never heard of a 14-year-old, sitting across their mother, handcuffs and shackle in the orange jumpsuit, having to look her in her face and say, "Look, you my mama, but I don't want you to be my mama on paper." How
Wow.
how discouraging of a conversation that is
Of
to have,
course. Oh
with your
wow.
own mama. I don't care who
Yeah.
you are. Ain't nobody sitting across the table from their mama. Kids will choose their mama. And I don't care how jacked up your mama is.
Yes. Say it.
They will choose their
Absolutely.
mama over a nice piece of steak any day. And yes,
Right.
I chose my mother. Was it the best decision? It might have not been the best decision. I don't know. But I know the whole world know about Dr. Niecy Hamilton today because I made a decision that was not only going to save my life, but it saved my children's lives as well as my children's children. Because there was something happening in my family that I was not aware of. There was some type of sorcery that was interjecting itself in my family. I had absolutely no idea where this was coming from. And so while I was fighting the system to get out to come back home, my home was fighting me because it wasn't ready to receive me.
Right.
So I had two different wars going
Yeah.
on top of being a child and trying to, have some emotional standard and emotional moral about what it was, what was happening to me and how everybody was thinking and feeling. And so now I'm just in a position at 14. I'm trying to just aim to please. I'm walking on eggshells because, I done pissed everybody off and I don't even know I pissed everybody off.
Right.
But you feel it in the attitudes. You feel it in the way they plop the plate down in front of you when it's time to eat. Like, I didn't want to feed you today, but while you here, let me remind you that we could have had a check. Like, dang, every 5 minutes, come on.
So
That
are
was
you
my
telling
life
me?
returning back home, you know. And I'm
Mm,
like, I thought y'all was fighting for me because this was, love, but that's not what happened. And so literally 9 months after being back home with my grandmother, I did not know she was sick. So a lot of her anger and animosity towards me was because she was sick. She was dealing with something that I had no idea she was dealing with. And she ended up having cancer. She had cancer in her colon, started in her colon, and then it moved up her body, and then it ended up, in her breast. So she had breast cancer, and the breast cancer is really what took her out. So I had no idea. Well, as she was getting sicker, the family started making plans, and they making plans, leaving me out of these plans.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, okay.
When
So
you
the
say leaving you
conversation,
out of the plans, what do you mean? When you say leaving you out of the plans, they didn't include you in her
no, they
burial
didn't
or none
include
of
me.
that?
Nothing. Nothing. This what was told to me about 2 weeks before my grandmother died. Hey, I'm moving. Okay. I'm moving in with my daughter. Okay. So this is her telling me she's moving in with her daughter. Okay. But you can't go.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
You
okay.
can't go because we don't want to take care of you.
Oh,
You're another mouth to feed.
oh,
Okay.
that's horrible. That's horrible, doctor. So hearing that, you're this 14, 15-year-old child, you have to figure it out because now you are out of the system. You're on your own. You had nowhere to go. So
Nowhere to go.
is that why you ended up um leading that lifestyle? And I want to start and go back to the moment where you knew you were being groomed. Now you know you were being groomed. Take us to that moment.
Well, I mean, the grooming process hadn't even happened yet. I mean, the major part was just dealing with the one vulnerability, which was homelessness. That was
Right.
just something that needed to be corrected. Okay. So when they left, I stayed in my grandmother's apartment, which she was on housing. So I stayed in that apartment till the housing authorities came and moved me out.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
they
so
just
I,
put you out? So okay,
yeah,
you're
because
still a child though. They saw you were living there. They didn't try to get services. They didn't ask questions. Why is this
no,
minor
they
here?
just thought I was
Nothing.
squatting. They just thought I was
Wow.
squatting. They asked me to politely leave. I said, yes, I will leave. Let me just get my things and leave. So I was sleeping in an abandoned apartment on a mattress, and that was it until they
Wow.
told me that I had to leave. So when they told me I had to leave, I had nowhere to go. But I had to stay in high school because I didn't have no social, no birth certificate, no,
Oh,
I have none of that. So it was the school. You know, told my school, hey, look, I'm homeless. Da, da, da. So ninth grade, they knew I was homeless. They knew, this is what was going on. I ended up having to sleep behind the Walmart that was on West Road, on 45 and West Road in North Houston. So this was the Greenspoint area. That's where I was. And, I would go to school and I would do things like cheerlead and all this other kind of stuff or whatever. I'm in with the best circumstances, but I would do it so I could take a shower at school so I can participate in the extra curricular activities at the school. And I needed somewhere where I could eat. That was the only way I could eat. I could not eat
so those were
unless I
your
went to
only
school.
meals is what you ate at school.
That was it.
Wow.
That was it. And I hope, I've been trying to find my choir teacher from when I was in the ninth grade. And I cannot think, I see his face, I can't think his name, but I know that he would remember me because my choir teacher, he took up, he did a Thanksgiving offer. He had all the students bring some Thanksgiving items to school, right? And he kept saying, I'm gonna get this to this lucky person, da 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 da. And I remember my choir teacher getting all the stuff, and then I was getting ready to walk out the classroom, and he said, "Listen," he put me to the side, and he was like, "Hey, all the stuff, you're the lucky student." And so I was like,
Oh,
"Oh my
good
God,
God.
thank you
Oh,
so much
oh,
for all of this food." I was so grateful. But then I started crying, and he was like, "Oh no, don't cry." He thought I was crying out of gratitude, which I was crying out of gratitude. I really was. But then I told him, I said, "I can accept the food, but where am I going to take it?"
ooh, Jesus.
So, you know, part two of that was me having to basically
Okay. So it looks like her camera, something happened with her camera, guys. Stay tuned. I'm sure she'll be back. Listen, I want to, while she's gathering everything to come back, I want to share some stats with you guys. Because sex trafficking is serious. 4.5 million people throughout the world are victims of forced sexual exploitation. 4.5 million. That's a lot of people. $51 billion per year are gained through forced labor. That's like modern day slavery, guys. $51 billion. And then there's 99 billion in sex trafficking. I was just giving them some stats. I knew you were coming back, so you can carry on with where you left off.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Oh no. So you might have to go out and come back in, doctor.
You want me to go out and come back in?
Yeah, go out and come back in because I want to make sure you can hear
Okay.
me.
So just so
Yeah.
I can hear y'all.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. So she's gonna go out, come back in. I hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast so far. Tonight, if you are just tuning in, we are with Dr. Nisi Hamilton. She is a survivor of human trafficking. Sex trafficking is a serious situation in this country, and it's like a dirty secret because honestly, a lot of what you see in the sex trafficking comes as a result of the welfare system, as you are witnessing tonight with Dr. Nisi, because she was in the system. And what happens, that system isn't systemizing correctly, okay? Because it's turning kids into sex trafficking victims, okay? And I know that we don't want to believe that, or like, no, the system doesn't always work like it should. Okay. So I'm glad you guys are still there. Keep sharing the broadcast, keep commenting. Looks like she's back, and we shall continue. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So carry
Um,
on. Where-
but back to my choir teacher. So, that was like one of the best memories that I had, transitioning from ninth grade into 10th grade. That, my teachers recognized what was going on with me and they really wanted to support me and, do some things and stuff. But, it was just like I was one of them students where it was like I was too smart for them to give up on me. It was one of them things. It was
oh,
like
yeah.
we can't give up on them. They preferred to know that I came to school every day, even though I was suffering, just so they could see me. It was like one of them bittersweet type of situations.
But you were maintaining, and that's what I like. You were 14, 15 years old. You couldn't have had any, you were on the street pretty much because you had to leave the apartment.
Oh yeah, me and Walmart, we have a really good relationship. They know my story, but I remember oh now this I want to cry think about it. Oh God, I went to Walmart and I told them, I said, listen, can I volunteer with you for anything? I just want to work for you for free. And they were like, they was like, why? And I remember telling them how many things I had stolen from them.
Oh, wow.
And they said, we have never heard anybody tell us that.
Wow.
And um, being able to talk to, you know, some top people at Walmart kind of just really put things into perspective. I got to meet, executives Walmart, AT&T, and through the women of AT&T, through one of their executives, Lolly Ramirez and stuff. And it was just so serendipitous to be able to go back to the same people and tell
Yes.
them, like, listen, I was hurting. I was
Yes.
going through a really, really bad time. I was like, but I had to steal tampons. I had to steal soap. I had to steal toothpaste. I had to steal deodorant. I said, I was stealing these things out of your store. I said, I had to take baths in your bathroom. Like, that is so for real. I had to take baths in your bathroom. I said, and I would leave out of that bathroom in Walmart and go, walk underneath the freeway to school at Aldine Ninth Grade Center. I said, because
Wow.
sometimes I would be up too early for the school to open for me to get into, the school to, to take a shower and stuff like that. And, unless you played every sport, you can't get access to just,
Absolutely.
to the locker
The
room all the
showers,
time.
right?
It's
Exactly.
like, what you doing back here?
Yeah.
You ain't basketball season this year, so no, this you ain't track season this year, so you know what I'm saying, things like that. So
So let's
um,
fast forward a little bit on the video, because on the video you talked about you met this waitress. So now you're out of school, I'm assuming, and now you want to try to get a job. Take us to that part where you were talking about on the video.
so how I even got there was being couch surfing, trying to find somewhere to stay in between me going to school and everything. I would hear people tell me, no, well, you can't stay here too long. Because a lot of people that was helping me, it wasn't just girls, it was guys. So the boy mamas, they're like, well, you can stay a day or two, but then after that, that's it. You can't stay here too long because you might get pregnant.
Ooh.
And, because they kept telling me that, my thought was, well, maybe I need to get pregnant so I can have somewhere to live for a long period of time. And so I
Oh
get
wow.
pregnant, okay, trying to fix my homeless situation so people would not kick me out so fast. And I, of course, it didn't work. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess I got to do what I got to do. Well, I still went to school. I kept going to school. As a matter of fact, I kept going to school. And my coach and my cheerleading coach, when they found out that I was pregnant, they were so upset because they was like, you're already homeless. I was like, but y'all don't get it. People are not supporting me because they feel like, I got too much time on my hands. I really just need some support. But if I can find somewhere to stay, if I could get a permanent address, I could get a job. I could get all this other stuff I need. And people
Right.
don't think about getting that permanent, address. It's like you can't even get an ID unless you have a permanent address.
Exactly.
So you get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to, just make something up so I can move my life forward and things like that. So I cheerlead pregnant. I ran track pregnant, played basketball pregnant, all this stuff pregnant. So then I had the baby. Okay.
Oh wow.
Now I'm in the 10th grade. So I went through the end of ninth grade, summertime, you pregnant, 10th grade, I had a baby. Now, but I'm going to school because I went to summer school. So I went to summer school. I went to school the whole time because I got to eat. Now, 10th grade, I had a baby. I ended up taking my baby to school with me in a purse because I didn't have daycare for my baby. Now, my teacher, and this was in math class, my teacher was not, he was the nicest person to me. He didn't call no police. He didn't put me out the class. He didn't do any of that. So none of that stuff happened. Okay. I was supported. My the students supported me. Everybody did. It was actually the counselor of the school who came and had a conversation with me. It was like, you got to make some changes and da 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 da. But I went to school literally like 3 days after I had my baby, right? Because I didn't have nowhere to stay.
Right.
But 10 days, so 7 more days after that, I wasn't even a mother for 10 days. I get sued by the state of Texas for being homeless with a minor. But I
What?
was
Okay, wait a minute. Let's unpack that. You got sued. What was their reason? Because you were homeless and you had
right.
a baby, so we sue you for what I mean, I don't understand that. They would rather
Yeah,
sue you than support you.
right. Right. They even wrote it in a
Wow.
lawsuit that I moved from pillar to post. They even wrote it in a lawsuit that I had a godmother, back then, and I was looking for people, that I could have a permanent residency too. I went back to old apartments where I used to stay at and asked, I would ask them, hey, can I just use your address and me and my baby stay here so I can get the CPS case over with and stuff. And they even wrote down some things that particular woman had said. She was like, uh I don't care for her staying here. She can't stay here too long. You know, um, I'm only doing this because CPS. We don't CPS people in our lives, in her life and things like that. Like it was blatant.
So wait a minute. You had the CPS involved and they allowed you to keep this child homeless, but they were suing you for being homeless. Why didn't they at least take the child and put it in a safe environment?
Well, because they couldn't prove that I was endangering my child. So that's a great question. Yeah, I wasn't endangering my child. The problem was I was a child who was endangered. And
Oh,
then part two to that problem was because I was endangered, right? Then the child was endangered. The problem was I was a mother, but not an adult, but I was treated like I was an adult. I was treated like a grown ass woman. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake. Let me tell you something. As long as I'm alive, I will never allow the state of Texas to forget that they adultified me. Yeah. They could have taken
wow.
me in. They could have put me through, a program with, teen
Yes.
mothers. It could have been anything. They wrote the most ugliest things that you can write about a child, as if I wasn't gonna read them and then have to live with that later. And I've had conversations about this. As a matter of fact, while everybody has talked about me, and it's so funny to me. DFPS actually hired me. I'm gonna say it again. They hired me to do their human trafficking symposium, right? And I do the symposium. They made me the keynote speaker. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that. I even taught a class that was peace, because the Bible says when a man's ways please God, then he'll make even his enemies be at peace with him. And they put me on stage. I tell them the story. I lay it out. I lay it out. But then all of a sudden, they apologized to me. They publicly apologized to me, put it on Front Street, everything. And I laid it out and I told the caseworkers, I said, listen, when you're dealing with kids going through stuff, I know they do bad stuff, but the stuff you write about children, especially if I wasn't a bad kid, y'all. I wasn't out, making matters worse and, bad attitude. They ain't write nothing in there that said I had a bad attitude. It just said, oh, I won't be still. I'm living from pillar to post. Oh, I'm homeless. Oh, I'm. That's the kind of stuff they was writing about me. They wrote nothing
Wow.
about she got the support of her family. She got the support of this. Oh, the state's gonna get behind her. No, no. The judge gave me three requirements. He said, "Do you want to keep your kid?" Yes, sir, Your Honor. I want to keep my kid. You got three requirements. You need to get a job. Okay, you need to get a bank account, put some money in it. I don't care about where the money is coming from, and then you need to find stable housing.
Wow. But you can't do that without a job. And you
No,
can't
how
do the
about you
job
can't
with.
do that till you 18?
Oh, that's true. Oh
That's what
my
I'm trying to
gosh.
figure out. I'm like, y'all, I had all of these stipulations. I was 18 years old trying to make life happen.
So how can
They
they
left
make
me
that a
out there to die.
requirement? Oh my gosh. Now Texas is jacked up. That because none of this is making sense to me because if you can't get a job because you're not 18, then what could you do other than I mean, how do you bring in money if you're that age? How do you bring in money? What is I mean, I really don't
Oh, I don't
understand this. This
know.
is yeah, what did they expect you to do? So you had no choice.
I had no choice. And it wasn't so much I
You did
had
it.
uh just not a choice. It was I didn't have a choice but to surrender to the enemy, because the enemy was the only one who gave me an option.
Now that's deep. That is deep, Dr. Nisi.
Yeah.
You had no alternative but to surrender to the enemy because
Yes.
that was the only one providing an option for you. What about church? Did you go to the churches? Did
I
you
did go to church. The church is where I met the girl from.
oh, the girl they introduced you to, right? Okay, let's talk about that. So you were going to church
Mhm.
hoping that this is where you were going to find some answers.
So my church
I'm
knew. I went to
assuming.
St. Stephen's Baptist Church. My pastor at that time was very, very familiar with me. Paul D. Landry know exactly who I am. A lot of my church members from St. Stephen's still follow me to this day. D. Franklin, Alfreda, Tiffany, uh, Stevens. Is a lot of people that know who I am and remember me. Uh, Cassandra Gregory, the Gregorys. Just Sade, shout out to y'all. I love y'all. The Jonagans, I love y'all. It's a lot of people that remember me and that knew
Right.
they were by me. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna even bring it when I want my own mayor right now, Sylvester Turner. His wife was going to St. Stephen's her and her daughter Ashley, they knew who I was. They used to buy Justin clothes when he was a baby. They used to buy me clothes because I was homeless and get me food. They knew exactly who I was. I'm not no secret.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just that nobody expected me to turn out the way that I am today. Nobody expected to hear from me today who I am and how I actually turned out.
It was absolutely necessary, though, Dr. Nisi. It was necessary. You
Oh,
know?
for sure,
So
for sure.
so you meet this girl and she introduces you and you guys come up with a plan for you to, because I want people to understand what kinds of things that makes you act. We've seen part of why you ended up there and how you ended up there. But what was the coercion part of it for you? Because we know that there's fraud, there's coercion, and there's intimidation, there's all kinds of things. What did they use to get you to commit to commercial sex, forced labor, and stuff?
Well, before they gave me a solution, the declaration was, if you want your child, these are the three things you have to do. So before there was a solution, the judge ordered me to do something that he did not give me any alternatives for.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just start there.
Yep.
This judgment was handed down from a non-impartial court system that did not consider my age or the weight of opponent that I was going up against while dealing with this world issue. It was only that court system and that judge was only willing to satisfy one person, and that was the child, but I too was a child.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm fighting three different systems now at this particular point.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the option was, okay, to fix the demand that's been placed on your life, the coercion. Hey, I got an ID because I'm 18. I already work at the strip club as a waitress. Why don't you go work at another strip club with my ID and I'll show you how to do it?
Ugh, wow.
So now we two different people working at two separate strip clubs with the same ID.
Because you had to make money. You had to make
Because
money.
I
You were
needed
under
to make
18
money
and you had to do what you had to do. I get it. No
to
judgment. I totally get it.
satisfy the
Yeah.
judge's requirements, to
Yes.
satisfy the demand that was placed on me by the court system.
Absolutely. So did you guys get away with it?
Yeah, we got away with it. We got away with it. Absolutely. She
Yeah.
worked at one club, I worked at another club, but her boyfriend kept all the kids.
So at this point, you just had one. You just had one child.
I had just the one child.
Just the one child. So this guy was keeping all the kids. And then from the video, you said that he said, okay, listen, if you want your child back, you need to make X amount of dollars for me. What triggered that? What made him just flip the script? Like, why did he go there? What made him do that?
Well, the relationship was fraudulent. So I didn't know that my friend was already being pimped out.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
They didn't have to groom me. The judge groomed me.
Yeah.
The court groomed me.
Yeah.
CPS
Very
groomed me.
true. Very true.
When my caseworker
Yeah.
did not say, hey, wait a minute, we ain't gonna move forward until she has an attorney. Okay. Hey, wait a minute. Here's a support service. Okay. Yeah. No. Y'all groomed me.
They
And you
really did.
said, hey, this is okay. Not because I was a minor. You said it was okay because I was a mother.
Say it. Absolutely. And you know what? This is very interesting. This puts a total different spin on this because the system put you out there.
Right.
Because
They
it's one,
did.
yeah, it's one thing to fight the sex trafficking, but you had to fight the system first.
Right. I had to fight that judge's decree while the
Wow.
state, which is, DFPS is the mother and CPS are the acting agents. So the acting agents is acting in agreement with a judge who don't spend time with me like the agent does.
Right. Right.
So the agent is sending notes about somebody that you ain't took out the time to find a resource for because you got 985 other kids to worry about, but you ain't looking at me like I'm a child. You're treating me like I'm a mother, like I'm a grown ass woman.
Right. Yeah, your friend Bonnie says the system sabotaged you from the start.
From the
So
start.
it's sad.
From the start, and
Yeah.
that's why y'all got to get the book because you will learn something. Since me putting my story out, I just found out who my father was 3 years ago, you guys, and I've had some family. I have white family members, so I am partially Caucasian, and that's why y'all see me with a lot of white folks, baby. It's gonna happen, boo. And there's some stuff in my
It's all
history.
good. It's
It's
all
all
good.
good.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff in my history that I didn't know. And I had some of my white family members reach out to me and talk to me about some things in my family history that I had no idea about.
Wow.
And a lot of where what happened to me came from is it is intergenerational. And when I found out about it, it really gave me a lot of peace because I didn't realize I was solving something from a great something that happened to a great ancestor who
Oh,
was a
wow.
slave.
Wow. Interesting. See, all necessary. All
Oh, it was
things work
all
together.
necessary.
All
It was
things work together
all
for
things
good.
work together for the good of those who love the
Wow.
Lord.
Yes,
So
say
I
that. I
had no
believe that.
idea.
Wow. So now, woo. So now you are waitressing, making money. Now
Yeah.
you got to go and meet the demands of this guy because if you want your child back, like he said, now you got to make more money. Now, I know that this
Well,
is
wait,
this
it
is
was
the
bigger than just making more money. He knew that I was never gonna tell on him. Let's just set that up right. He knew
oh,
I was never going to tell on him. He knew I was never going to complain. And he knew that back then, when you're trying to get your kids back and you're dealing with CPS, you ain't
yeah.
going to be flipping
Yep.
addresses and stuff because
No,
you
you
look
can't.
unstable.
Exactly. You can't. You
And
have
when
to
you
maintain.
fighting, so because you got to
Yep.
remember, I wasn't just fighting the judge, I was fighting what old home skiller was writing about me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you got
Absolutely.
so many different fights going on. And that's why I always talk to people about spiritual warfare because don't nobody know a fight better than I do because
All
I've been
right.
hand to hand combat for a real long time. And I don't play with CPS and DFPS. And I tell them, don't play with me and I won't play with you. But if I've been dealing with you for 20 years, just put some respect on my name because I came out of something that y'all didn't even defend me for. And all y'all gave me was an apology. And it wasn't even a sorry ass apology. I respect the woman who gave me the apology because it came from the top. It came from executive leadership.
They did apologize.
They apologized to me.
Wow.
But just remember, you apologized to me, but you didn't pay me. And that's still open. That's still up for negotiations. So don't play with me. Don't play with me in my life. Don't play with me and my children because y'all done made so much money off of me. You ain't apology ain't enough anymore.
I know that's right. Say it.
Now
Say it.
I want the smoke. Come bring me the smoke.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready. Because you didn't mess around and let me get too much time on my hands. And like I told them, what you would have done was set me up so I can have a job and you wouldn't have to worry about me being so fierce with you because I would have been trying to keep my job. But now I'm free because the word of God says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Now I'm free and I work for Jesus. I ain't got to worry about answering to nobody. So when you mess with me, I got all the time in the day to mess with you back. I got this time now. I'm free.
Yeah. All right. I love it. Ooh, girl.
So that's what I'm saying. Set it up right because he knew I was never going to tell anybody because he knew if I had said something, that would have given them ammunition to take my babies back. So it wasn't just like, oh, I laid down and took it. No,
Right.
I didn't have no dog in that fight. I was up playing checkers because I didn't know any better. The enemy was playing chess.
Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
to learn
I
real
see that.
quick. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
had to learn real quick that there's a difference between power and authority. I had the
Right.
power because I was the mother. I did not have the authority. because I was
Right.
dealing with something that had authority over me. And it was
Wow.
punishing me and not even investigating itself into my constitutional rights. They
Wow.
treated me like I was a damn foreigner.
So it sounds to me like your fight was more with the people in the offices than the people on the street.
Right. It was.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was.
So
That
this is
should have
this
never
is
happened. I should have never been sued. And here's the thing. Now my story out there. Now everybody want me to be quiet.
oh
Well, we
no.
know we did it. Well,
Oh no.
we
Oh
know.
no.
No,
Oh
no,
no. I'm with
no.
you on that. No. How in the heck, girl? Listen, I'm
Uh-uh.
with you on that one now. No, we're
You
not going to
want me to
talk
be
about it
quiet? I'm
until
the
it
first
changes. Has it
person.
changed? Has it changed?
No, it ain't changed.
See, that's the
Anybody
scene.
that know me, know. Anytime they mess with me, I'm putting it out immediately. I just had a CPS case
Mhm.
that they dissolved on their own because I damn sure wasn't gonna help them. Just 8 9 months ago, and I'm like, look, stop playing with me. Be for real. Y'all had bad practices then. You got bad practices now.
Practices now. Wow.
It's bad. Do you have it is so horrible. I've never seen this system like this before in my life. But the Lord had to remind me, daughter, daughter, I've had systems that have been trying to take the children of Israel since the beginning of time. What make you
Say
think
it.
they would be trying to take the children
Say
of
it.
Israel now? I
Say
cannot
it.
stand up and defend a system that take children.
Yeah. Wow.
I
So
can't
this
sit up
makes
and
sense.
yeah, I can't sit up and defend the system. You want me to go take a test to operate a two ton vehicle on the road so I could get a driver's license. But when I have a baby, you don't want to bring the parenting classes to the hospital when I have a baby. So
Oh
you
wow.
more worried about the people that I drive on the road with. You want to make sure I'm insured and that I have a license, but you don't want me to insure myself for life.
Wow. I am just so blown away that they did not have any programs in place for an
No,
underage mother. I don't understand that. I've
no,
never
because
seen that.
DFPS did not start dealing with trafficking until 2016. My trafficking started in 2003. 13 years later. That means that if I didn't have the fight that I have in me right now, they wouldn't have never found me.
True.
They
Because
wouldn't have never found me.
that's one of the
And that
things
should
I
piss
did.
anybody off.
Oh
That means that
yeah.
there are other nieces out there,
Yep.
there are other girls out there
Yes.
after me that are not found to this day that ain't nobody
Yeah.
talking about. And you
Yeah.
wonder why I talk about trafficking like it's the gospel, because you're gonna listen and you're gonna read the book of Nisi until the day I die. This is the gospel of Nisi. It's
And guys,
not a game.
one of the things that the way she's talking about, it's real because they had to intervene by making it where within 24 hours, whenever a young person or person is out of that foster care, that they report it because they weren't doing that. Now they say
No,
based
not
on
at
the
all.
yeah, based on what I read, the report that I read, it has changed some, Dr. Nisi, where more are being reported. But the sad part about it is what's happening. I mean, this thing goes even deeper. What happens is putting kids on the street and they were in the system. What's happening to kids flipping from foster care onto the street? Because if they were in foster care, they were there for a reason, that you were there to protect them. So does that protection end when they turn a certain? I mean, it's like they're setting you up to fail in this system. That's what it seems like to me, Dr. Nisi.
Every year, DFPS has to print out this report right here. And this report is Children and Youth Missing from DFPS Conservatorship and Human Trafficking Initiatives. They have to print this report every year.
Oh wow,
And every
yeah.
year, you know what? I'm sitting up reading it so I can figure out who the hell is missing.
Because they're turning into sex trafficking victims.
Of
That's what's
course.
happening. That's what's
No,
happening,
not only
guys.
that, they don't have
Mhm.
anybody to get the kids, so they're putting the kids in fucking hotels. That's what it is. So you know what I went and
Wow.
did? Since you're putting them in hotels, now I'm an ambassador for all the hotels because the Asians and the Indians own the hotels.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that's
Amen.
why I went to in Dallas to AHOA for the Asian American Hotels Owners of Association. So that
Right.
ain't one or two hotels. That's all of them. That's even the one that's getting ready to own hotels. Yeah, because when you a
Wow.
boss and you care about the children, see you boss up,
That's
and you
right.
gonna know who the
Absolutely.
players and the executives are.
That's
Because you
right.
ain't gonna keep telling me that you care. I know you don't care.
Wow.
Yeah, the Wyndham know who Dr. Hamilton is. Red Roof know who Dr. Hamilton. They know. They know. And you
And
better
these are
figure
the
out now.
hotels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you better figure out now if you want to be my friend or not.
Right.
Yeah,
And
because
guys,
I'm not
listen,
looking for you. You gonna need me in your pocket, not you and not me in your pocket.
because what's real, guys, is that these hotels are complicit. They
Yeah, they
know when
complicit.
sex
Complicit.
traffic comes. Yeah.
The problem is there is no requirement on the curriculum or the training. So do you
Exactly.
just want to be trained by somebody who's never experienced trafficking, or do you want to be trained by somebody who's had some lived experience with this stuff?
Yes. It's true.
Because the minute my trafficking went from labor trafficking, because originally what I experienced, that was labor trafficking. I was a minor. Yes, I was in the club on my own. Originally, that was all me, and that was me in the state. That was me in the state originally. But he imputed himself when he said, "Oh, you can't get your baby back until you give me $200 a day." Now you pimping.
Now you pimping. That's
Now you
right.
pimping.
Because I,
Originally, it was just a state, but now you done imputed yourself. You done inserted yourself into a fight because
yep.
you saw opportunity. You saw
Wow.
opportunity.
So let me ask you a question. Did you by this time that you are weaning yourself away from this, how old were you, Dr. Nisi? When you finally turned 18, where exactly were you in life at that point? Now you're 18-year-old.
Living in a harem when I was 18, I was living in a harem. I was living in a harem with it was probably me and about 8 other hoes, all living in the same house. By the time I was
Wow.
18,
Wow. And where was the baby? Living in there too?
yeah,
Wow.
and not just one baby. Now they had the second baby, because at this time, by the time I turned 16, there was another pimp in the club that was had heard what was going on and everything, and he made it seem like he was gonna save me.
Oh
Don't worry
yeah.
about it. I'm gonna take
That's part of it.
I'm
Yep.
gonna take care of you. And you gotta understand, when the enemy saying he gonna take care of you, it sounds a whole lot different, because you be begging people to try to take care of you. They have the the position to take care of you. They got the title to take care of you. They got the money to take care of you. You're looking for them to ask you certain things. And the one person that asked me what it was I need was the damn enemy.
Yeah.
The
And
enemy
that's
asked,
the
how could
part.
he help me?
Come on now. Yeah, you
That
about to
part.
preach. Yes.
What do you do when your enemy asks you, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that,
Yeah.
how can I help you? Forget temptation. What you mean? Finally, somebody asked me what I need,
I'm taking it.
and it ain't got no strings attached.
Yeah,
Nope,
I'm
not
taking it.
yet. That's why
Not
I only
yet.
serve Jesus, because see, he already did a blood sacrifice. He didn't require me to sacrifice myself.
That's right. Absolutely. And that's how you know the difference.
That's how you know the difference, right?
Yeah.
And so here it is. He come to me like he is ready to, defend my honor and protect my name, protect who I am, protect me as a mother. And I fell for the okie doke. I'm 16 years old. I want to get out this other dude's house. I ain't got time for it. This dude making me pay him $6,000 a month for my child. $6,000 a month. Don't come talking to me about you know what trafficking is, and you can pay somebody $72,000 a year for a child, and you ain't seen none of the money. You can't even give an
Ooh.
explanation.
Ooh. Oh.
Let me tell you how bad
Oh.
it was. Y'all, I was putting the money in the bank account because remember I told you the judge told me I had to put the money in. I was putting so much money in that bank account and giving the money to this dude because I needed to account for it to meet the requirements of the judge. But then I
Right.
also needed to take it out to give it to him that the judge made me pay child support for my baby.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You had the child though. The
Made me
state
pay
wasn't giving
child
you
support.
any
Made,
assistance.
yeah, made me pay child support. Give whatever assistance I was getting from the state, I had to give it back.
Wow.
So don't come talking to me about
Oh, wow.
dude, do the math, make
Oh,
the math. That, you know, and I'm not a mean person. I'm a really nice person, but it's just stuff about it's so many holes in my life, so many holes in my story, and not holes where you can't put two and two together, but holes about why y'all didn't do this.
right.
What kind of preparation and planning was y'all doing?
That's what I'm thinking as
That
you're
you asked
talking.
me to meet the requirement, I meet the requirement, you get mad, I meet the requirement, then you say, you know what? I'm gonna take this from you in a whole nother kind of way.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
reinforce
so
my logic on you. Like I'm a man. A
wow.
man. I'm 16 years old. And what's so crazy is, so mind you, I transitioned from that one pimp, the one that was labor trafficking me, to another pimp. And that new pimp is going to court with me.
Really?
CPS done, yeah, he was going to court with me. CPS done looked at his house. They done did they what you call they walked through.
So he was presenting himself as a second parent on your behalf.
Baby, not on my behalf, but on the behalf of the other child.
Oh, wow. Right.
Right. And so CPS, they so smart. I love how smart they are. They wrote in my documents that he was my paramour. Now, mind you, I'm 16 years old, but in my documents, they kept putting 17, 17, 17. And I was like, how the hell? I'm 17 years old. Ain't no way in the world I could be 17. They made me 17 in 2001. They made me 17 in 2002. They made me 17 in 2003.
They never changed it.
I went 17 until
Wow.
2005. 2004,
Wow.
I was still 17. I was like, come on now. Make up your mind.
Now that's messed up.
No, it gets worse. When they was so they couldn't end the case because they sued me twice.
Twice they sued you.
Well, because the second guy, he's sex trafficking me. Okay, I thought it was my man. Now he's sex trafficking me.
Oh,
Okay, he took me to a hotel and everything. Made me sleep with the dude. Okay, cool. He give me the same ultimatum. Hey, you ain't gonna be able to get your kid back if you ain't doing what I'm telling you to do. All right, no problem. I ain't finna argue with you. The Bible says that the Lord tell you to agree with the enemy quickly. Y'all better understand what I'm trying to tell you. I went in agreement with the enemy quickly. Yes, I did. For my child.
yeah,
It wasn't even about me. I
I get
sacrificed
it.
myself.
I get it. I totally get it, doctor. I get it.
And so now
Yeah.
this is going on. Back then, when you was being pimped out, if it was with a condom, you made less money. If it was without a condom, you made more money. So I'm being pimped out without a condom. I get pregnant while the case is going on. So I'm 16 pregnant with the second child. So then they
Oh.
sue me. Soon as that baby born, they sue me for that one.
Oh, oh my God. Okay. So they sue you with the same situations that you're a minor,
Because the
and now we're
other case
suing you.
wasn't
Yeah.
right, because the other case wasn't done. But the biggest issue I have is I don't have an attorney. All this is going on. They doing all this planning and prepping and prepping and planning. I don't have an attorney. Oh no, I ain't talked to nobody.
So you're representing yourself in court pretty much.
pretty much. I was given a
Yeah.
court date, told when to show up. I showed up, and not only did I show up, my pimp showed up too.
Did they ask him who he was?
Yeah, they wrote him in my documents as my paramour. Not only that, they wrote him down in my case. As a matter of fact, they did a background check on him.
Ooh, ooh.
Okay, this is documented, y'all. Stop playing with me. I don't care. Stop playing with my life. They did a background check on this dude. In the documents they put in there. Now, the first time he had received a charge was in 1993. I was born in 1987. So that means by the time I was 6 years old, he had already been incarcerated for his first crime.
Wow.
Make the math.
Yeah,
I'm
that doesn't make
87. He
sense.
went to jail in
Yeah,
93.
93. Yeah. Wow.
Make the
And
math.
all of that's documented.
Yeah, all of it's documented.
And
They
it's
I did a
hard
whole
because
present. I did a whole hour-long presentation for him and told him.
oh wow. So now you're sued twice. You're 16, two kids, and you're are you work you're working as a waitress still, but now
No,
you're
baby, I'm a hoe. I'm sleeping with 5 dudes a day. 150 a month. I went from
100
making 6,000 to making 15, 20,000
a month.
a month.
Wow. But how much of that were you getting?
How I'm getting some money if he going to court and keeping the kids and doing all this stuff? Why I need to account for some money?
Yeah, that's true.
They know where he lived. They come and do the visits. The bedrooms and stuff is set up.
So he passed. Wow. So, oh my goodness. Okay.
Y'all better put it together.
Ooh, honey. That's
Stop
a
playing
lot.
with my life.
That is a lot. That is a lot. And we are not even 18 yet. We're
Not even 18.
not even 18 yet. So when you do become 18, now what? And her camera goes away. Listen, guys, if you are just tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, we are having a real conversation tonight with Dr. Niecy Hamilton. She is sharing her story of sex trafficking. And, she survived sex trafficking, but she deserves the praise because she didn't just survive sex trafficking, but she had to fight the system too. And that's why I'm looking forward to Stacy coming on because she's going to help us understand all of that that Dr. Nisi was going through because she is very well versed with the system, what's going on. She advocates for people and she's really involved. All right, so she is back. Okay. All right. So let's get on the other side of the fence now. You are let's pretend you're now 18 and the day that you were about to get arrested when you knew that you wanted to go into the military. Take us to that moment and how that went down.
Um, so the young lady that I was fighting with, she and I are actually tight still to this day. I absolutely
Aw,
love her. She is my sister from another mister, and we thick as thieves. And
love it.
she's not ready to tell her story yet, but I'm sure we will have some juice in that good old book. But anyways, um, and we're actually Facebook friends, so I know everybody's like, "Who is it?" So, but the young lady, and she's so funny. We were fighting because our pimp. So she was the upstairs. She was the new bottom. I didn't want to be. I didn't care anymore. And it was like 4 other girls living above, but she was the new bottom because she had the master bedroom. Okay, I slept on the floor, so that means while they would be upstairs fucking, I could hear them. Like
Oh
it was.
wow.
So whoever turn it was, you could
Oh
hear.
wow. Oh wow.
Okay,
Okay.
that's how. That's what a harem is. You
Right.
with everybody.
Right.
So I'm on the bottom floor. He came in the house. He used to do. He used to sell 8 balls all the time. He used to do cocaine, real heavy. I have never done cocaine. I don't want to do cocaine. I think it's all of his crack is whack. I don't care. My mother did enough for the both of us. Like, I've never done it. I've never even tried. Never even wanted to try. I do not care. Popping pills, smoking weed, doing drinking. I did all of that. 151 was my thing. I used to drink 151 like it was water at 16 years old. So to be a really, really bad alcoholic as a teenager. Um, but the cocaine I couldn't get to. Anyways, and he came home high one day on cocaine. And I don't know if y'all remember when we had Northline Mall. And next to Northline Mall uh was a strip club called, oh, I have to call her and ask her what, Ice Cream Castle. That's what it was, Ice Cream Castle. And
Ice
he
cream
used to
castle.
go, yeah, he used to go to Ice Cream Castle. Ice Cream Castle 45 was Passions Cabaret. Back then, oh God, those strip clubs, Jesus. Anyways, but he would go in between them two clubs, and he came home high one night. And instead of going upstairs in their little domain, he came downstairs with me. Well, because I'm in the house with him, I can't tell him, "Oh, you can't sleep right here. This is not your spot." That's one thing you don't do. You don't argue with, your pimp, your your head, like whoever owns the domain and stuff. You don't do none of that. You don't say nothing. You just, he
Do as
high,
you're told.
let him do,
Yeah.
yeah, do as you
Right.
told, not as I do
Right.
type of thing, or
Right.
whatever. So really, there is no boundaries because you don't own yourself. He owns you. And he fell asleep. I was already asleep. He fell asleep. I didn't think nothing about it. She comes home. She sees me and him laying down on the floor together. And I guess she thought, that we had just got through doing something or whatever. But I mean, it was like a serious sleep. And she came home and she was like, oh, hell no, what is this? And I mean, just start slapping. Just, you know how you just start going out because you think you see your man with another woman or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, girl, I'm like, wait a minute, you hitting me. You hitting me. And it was, oh, I don't care type of thing or whatever. And there was some cocaine. I don't know if it was between him or her who had the cocaine, if he was trying to give it to her to keep calm or whatever. But they had some cocaine. And all I know is they was slapping, bam, that bag of cocaine bust, and now it's cocaine in the air. And I'm like, shit,
Oh
I want to
wow.
fight. Y'all got this shit in my hair. You got it in my blood. You got it in. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I'm angry and I'm anxious now because I'm like, I got to leave. The problem was he did not know that I had a contract to leave to the military, but she knew. And she knew because she would see me in the office with the dude all the time who got me the contract. And when I would come home, the question would be, did you make some money? Did you make some money? Did you make some money? So I had to hide what it was that I was doing. I couldn't tell anybody. So when we got to a fight, she told him that night when she getting ready. That's all right. That's why that bitch getting ready to leave anyways. And da 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 da. So
Ooh.
she talking like she telling on me. And so I really get mad. So now it's time to play. Cause you telling my business, dude. I'm trying to
Exactly.
get out your way. This ain't my
Exactly.
man no more. I don't
Right.
want to be here with you, but you telling my
Right.
business. And um, and I'm gonna just call her T. T is taller than me, and she high yellow, and when you fighting high, I guess you really don't know what you're doing when you fighting high, but you still fight, like crackhead
Right.
crack
Right.
or whatever. But when you not high, you pop pop pop, and see I'm short, so I move a little different. So she kept
What?
trying to catch me, and we was throwing some big blows. She kept trying to catch me, and I was so mad. And I remember Stevie standing on top of me, and he was like, "Let her go, let her go." And I was like, "No, she gonna die today. She gonna die today." And she did something where she was trying to catch me, like put her arm around my
Right.
my mouth, And she put her
Right.
arm around my mouth, and I bit her arm. And I promise y'all, I got the picture. She sent me the picture maybe about 8 months ago. Thomas, she took a picture on Thomas. I still remember when you bit me, sis. I was like, no, don't keep
It's
that
good you
damn
guys can
picture
laugh about it today. Wow.
today. Oh, for sure, because we love each
Yeah.
other. That's my
Exactly.
girl. Like straight up, that's my
Absolutely.
girl all day long. But I mean,
Absolutely.
it was a bad fight, and the neighbors ended up calling the police on us, and the police came. And when the police came, she was the one that had all the bruises and stuff like that. Um, Not me. I was sitting on the stairs, and I remember the officer coming in and saying, which one of y'all did it? Like what's going on? And it was
Somebody's
like
going to jail. Yeah.
somebody going to jail. And between looking at her and looking at me, I was the one that ended up in handcuffs. And I remember telling the guy, um, when he put me in handcuffs in the back of the car, I was like, look, I'm getting ready to leave to the military, and if I cannot go to jail, I can not tonight, not for no fight, not for this. That's my pimp. That's his new hoe. Like I gave all. I told the truth. That's my pimp. That's his new hoe. She mad because she think me and him together, and I'm not with him. I'm actually trying to leave, sir. But if you let me go, I promise you, I'm not coming back here anymore. I promise you, I'm not coming back. And I remember the guys. The cop saying, you didn't have to tell me all of that. You didn't have to, he said most people come to him and they lie about everything. Since you was straight up with me, I'm gonna let you go. But he ended up taking her to jail. And I called her and I asked her, I was like, hey, what happened to you that night? Did you actually go to jail? And she said, no. She had a girlfriend because she was with the pimp and with another girl. She had a girlfriend, and she ended up, the officer, some other way, ended up taking her to the girlfriend's house just so that me and her could be separated and so that I could leave.
Oh, wow. Well, you listen, that is good. I think that's a good break right there.
Yeah.
Stacy has joined us. Did you hear all of this going on tonight, Stacy?
It's terrific. I heard pieces of it. I'm actually in New York City right now, so it's a busy place and a lot going on.
Good.
But I wanted to give you some time and thank you for having me with you, lovely ladies, tonight. So, but it's
Well, let me let everybody know who you are first, because you are the bomb diggity. So I want to make sure they know she is an expert witness in federal and state litigations. She's an independent paralegal. She's a physician's assistant in the ER. She is the founder of the Lockkeeper Court Watchers LLC, and she is known for her video "How to Beat CPS and Win." Yes.
hi,
So you're
ladies.
in the
Thank
right
you.
place tonight. So welcome to the Ella Johnson Show, Miss Stacy. Thank you so much for giving
Thank
us
you.
this time. I know it was short notice, but you were so willing to be here and just chime in on the sex trafficking. And you've heard a little bit about what Dr. Nisi was saying.
Yes.
I want you to kind of let my audience get an idea of legally what's going on with sex trafficking in this country right now.
Yeah, the best way I try to help people to comprehend the gravity of the situation is I'll start by talking about the Catholic priest scandal, because it's basically what it is um, pedophiles infiltrating positions of trust and authority and access to children. And so if you can comprehend and listen to and pay attention to what's happened in the Catholic Church, that's just a microcosm of what's happening
Yeah.
throughout the world, really, and through our government, because pedophiles will infiltrate positions of authority with access to
Yep.
children. So our government is not impervious. Um, One of the reasons why I found out so much information and why it became so special to me is because my ex-spouse was an attorney for Child Protective Services, and my children disclosed abuse, and then they gave custody to him. And I always wondered, well, why is this happening? And then after this happened with my ex-husband now, another man came to light who was my ex's co-worker. And he was hired as an attorney for Child Protective Services with it being public knowledge he was a sex offender. And despite it
Mm.
being public knowledge he was a sex offender, he was hired for this very sensitive position. And I tell people, if If Pablo Escobar was hired to drive Brinks trucks, what do you think would happen? Do you think he would stop at $1? And lo and behold, this gentleman that was hired as a sex offender to work for CPS was sex trafficking children and raped multiple women. So that, now you've got two attorneys working for the same child protective services, and that's starting to be maybe not a coincidence. And indeed, I met one of my ex's victims, and then we've heard of a third attorney, and then there's a fourth guy that's kind of coming to light, and then there's another guy for another agency nearby, same thing. So then if you look into our government and publications, our own government admits this is a problem. If you look at our government reports, you'll see from the United States Department of State, they put out a yearly report on human trafficking. And always they say that the population most targeted is the foster system, the children in foster care. And so there are reports from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children that state 88% of sex trafficked children come from the foster system. And with these children coming in from the other countries right now, and this whole thing too, this current report from the U.S. Department of State says the same thing, that children coming into the country without parents and so forth, they're targeted as well, which seems obvious that would possibly happen. So, and then you look back at the whole Epstein situation. And that's actually how he got access to a lot of children, is through the foster system. So in 2014, because our government recognized this was a problem, they passed an act. It was in 2014. It was the Preventing Sex Trafficking and Safe Families Act. And it's kind of stupid that you would have to make an act to remind CPS that they have to do their job and report missing children to the police. But in fact, before this act, they were not following the law. They were not reporting children missing from CPS. Or if they did report missing children from CPS to the police, they barely looked for them or hardly tried at all. So there was all these children being fed to sex trafficking. And if anyone ever watched the Sound of Freedom, the U.S. Department of State report says the same thing as the Sound of Freedom. It says the United States is the main hub of child sex trafficking in the world. The three top countries it listed were the United States, was Mexico, and Honduras. So if you can comprehend and pay attention and see what happened in the Catholic priest scandal, that's actually what's happening in our government. And it's not really a coincidence that this happened to you, Dr. Hamilton. It was by design.
Wow. So, oh my God, I'm getting
Finally,
chills.
somebody said it. Mighty God, today, I'm going to have my freedom and my justice.
So, why did this happen though, Dr. Stacy? Why did this happen like this?
The Sound of Freedom, they say it's a $150 billion a year industry. So, social workers for child protective services actually function as child traffickers. And when it appears like, oh, somebody didn't know the law or they violated constitutional rights, they think, oh, they just didn't know better, inappropriate training. No. This is willful, knowing, intentional, and it garners a lot of money that nobody wants to buck the system that they think is actually well functioning. Because if you look at it from a monetary perspective, it's very well functioning.
Oh yes, they get paid. They get a bonus if you
Right.
sign a safety plan and you have court in your living room. They get bonuses for you
Right.
signing that.
Yes. So that's what you're talking about, is Title IV federal funding. And there's also the Family First Act from 2018. So the Federal Family First Act of 2018 recognizes children thrive the best when kept in their family. And where I'm from in New York State, family is even defined as kinship is actually defined even as a close friend of the family,
Or
a
fictive
godparent.
kin.
Yeah, you don't have to be a blood relative to be eligible for kinship care to take care of a family member's children. But
Wow.
because Title IV federal funding, the funding, the bonus money that comes from the federal government that incentivizes CPS to traffic children, there is no cap on Title IV federal funding when they place children into the care of foster strangers, but there is a cap on the amount of federal funding states can receive if they put the children into kinship care. So they always try to nitpick away the family members, the kinship members, because they want to put them into the care of strangers because they make more money. It's not in the best interest of the children. It is a sex trafficking agency. 88% of sex trafficked children come from foster care. It's not in the children's best interest. That system needs to be minimized, if not abolished, and kids need to stay in their family.
Yeah, and they need to give some support
Right.
to the mothers.
Yes. Yes. And even the
Actual
Constitution.
support.
Right.
Not not make them criminals. If you have a
Right.
CPS investigation, that is a criminal investigation. And let me tell you why. Because if somebody comes to your house and asks you about any type of thing that is criminal activity, first of all, they're supposed to Mirandarize you. Because why do the police have to Mirandarize you before they ask you a question about something of a criminal nature? So wouldn't they have to Mirandarize you? They don't even have Mirandarizing power. They don't even have badges. They go buy them fake ass badges. They put that shit around their neck. It ain't even regulated, but they do it so they can feel important. Stop
Wow.
playing with me.
You're right. And it's illegal search and seizure when they start talking to your kids without their warrant.
That's
Fourth
right,
Amendment
because
violations.
the children are not a ward of the state. Because remember, you are a lord of your house. That's why
Yes.
you are a landlord. They supposed to talk to you because you the mama or you the daddy. So why
Right.
you talking to my kid without my permission then? Why you violating their rights?
Because they want your kids.
And they want to make money off of you. They want to make money off of slow people. There's no, and then let me tell you something. There's no such thing as ignorance of the law. So if you're ignorant of the law and you don't know how to follow protocol about your children and keep your house safe and have safeguarding measures about these things, your children will be taken, and you will spend over $100,000 to try to get your kids back. It took me 7 years to get my children back. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, they
I was
circle
7
paying
back.
my
years.
traffickers child support. Stop playing with me.
Right. They try to circle back. Once you've been a kid growing up in the system, they circle back for the kids of the foster system. All to keep money, all for job security. It's cash for kids.
Cash for kids. I like the way you
Cash for
said that,
kids.
Miss Stacy.
So let me ask you a question then. So when kids are lost in the system, is it that they're lost, or are they creating this atmosphere where you guys are saying they're leading them right to sex trafficking? Because I watched this movie one time and I was like, there's no way, because I was ignorant. I was like, there's no way this is happening. I was watching this movie and the girl, it was her day to leave. They gave a party for her. And the CPS worker took her to the pimp and she got lost in the system.
So so
Unbelievable.
So it's easy. Do the math, right? Um, First of all, when that act came into place, that this Preventing Sex Trafficking in Safe Families Act,
Yeah.
once that went into place, and then the CPS workers were reporting runaways to the police more and more, the reports went up 300%, right? And then if you look at the lists of kids that went missing, how do babies run away? Does that
That's a
answer
good
your
point.
question?
Come on, do
That's
the
a good
math.
point. That's a good point.
They're not running away.
Wow. So who's talking about this? Who's
We are.
bringing this?
We are, yeah. You are,
So
Ella.
what do we do? Because I'm disturbed by this. When Dr. Nisi was talking about how she was underage and the state sued her because she was a mother and had a child. I'm in Florida. I have never heard of that. There's always programs for underage mothers here in this state. So is that the norm, what she went through?
This the what?
Is
She said, "Is that normal? What I went through?"
That's why I said, what?
But she was a child. What could she have done? If she didn't make the choices she made, she would have lost her child to God knows who. I
They're
just
mad.
it they're
They're
mad.
mad.
I can see why
You
they're
know,
mad at her because she's not stopping.
right.
She's like,
No.
she's
And
ready
she
to
did.
march. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, you don't get your
Oh,
kids back from the system. You don't get your kids back from the system unless you really annoy them. And that means hard work.
Baby, let me tell you something. The FBI called me and asked me, how did I do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they said they get calls all the time about parents who have been mistreated by DFPS and CPS, and they barely get their children back. And they said, how did you do it?
Right. And the reason you don't get your kids back is because it's a cash for kids program. So literally you have to annoy them so much it's the equivalent of asking someone who stole your $1 million to give it back. And you have to fight
oh
about that
wow.
hard.
That
So I want
part.
to I want to take one of the our viewers comments. He said, "Let's get an example. College is free to foster kids, but they have to go to community college. But there are no dorms for community college, so they end up selling bodies for a place to live and never end up going to college. Make this make sense to me. So we have money for the foster kids, but they never get to use it.
They want the kids impaired because like I said, they circle back. So not only do they feed off the foster child, but then they circle back for the foster child's children. So that's one thing. They want people to stay impaired and stay in the system. They don't want people to thrive and rise up. They want to keep you
Wow.
down and in the system because that's job security and that's money and it's cash for kids.
That's right. It's almost like the prison system. I can keep being the deputy sheriff or detention officer or whatever as long as I know people are coming to jail. I don't want
Right.
to reform people that's coming to jail because I need a
Right.
job. I need to be able to keep getting money. So it's the same thing when you're dealing with people, children. And this is the reason why the enemy is mad with Moses' mama. This is the reason why we understand that mama put her son in a basket and sent him down the river because she was teaching us how to defy the odds of a paradigm that said you could only do it one way.
That's a
The
very good
Yeah.
Pharaoh
point.
was killing the kids. This is an Egyptian Pharaoh all over again. New
Wow.
York is suing Texas for the children, for the amount of children who are dying. What is it called? The mortality? Because the mortality rate of the children in Texas is insurmountable. The number's too big. So New York is actually suing Texas. Make the math.
Right. So
That
So
part. But you don't see nobody talking about that. And
so it's
you want me to roll over and just give you my children.
yeah, so it's the days of what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong, and that's what we're living in. And our system that's supposed to be protecting children is sex trafficking children. And blessed are those who end up actually in a good foster home. But like I said, the numbers are staggering. 88% of sex trafficked children come from foster care. And it's so perfect because these actors, they have all sorts of immunity,
Come on,
confidentiality,
actors. Violating your 13th and your 14th amendments.
all of them. They violate all of them. Due process too. That's the fifth
Due
one.
process. Ooh. We're not having court in my living room. Yeah. We not having court. You ain't gonna judge me in my living room. You not gonna write shit down on no piece of paper and tell me to sign it. No. I have a right to an attorney, and I also have a right to remain silent. So if you knock, I'm keeping it locked. We ain't talking what we got to talk about. Then they got a nerve, Miss Ella, to get mad when you don't want to talk to them.
oh yeah, I listen, I've had my dealings with this with CPS. That's why this is interesting to me because mine was totally different. But I did fight the system as well. And you're right. You have to annoy them to get results. And that was me. 100%. I didn't take no for an answer. I would talk about I was very bold. Now a lot of people say, Ella, if you don't play by the rules, you're going to lose your kids.
Yeah, they
And they're
always
right.
say that. They
That's
always
that's
Yeah.
say
that's
that.
like Nazism to me. So I tell people this
Yeah.
little story and then I have to get going. It's like meeting a bear in the woods. The bear is bigger than you. And what are you going to do? If you sit there and you're silent like a little bunny, you're going to get eaten. If
That's
you
right.
run, the bear is bigger and faster than you. If you run, you're going to get eaten. You have to
Yep.
throw stones at the bear, and the bear still knows he could eat you. The bear still knows he's bigger than you, but you're so annoying, he's going to move on for the next meal. It's
Ooh, that's
literally like
good.
that, and
That's
that's where you
Wow.
good.
have to be.
That's good. Well, listen, I know, did you say you had to go? I
I
Yeah,
appreciate you
do,
she
I
so
gotta
do, yeah.
much.
go.
I
So
know you are so awesome. Stay warm. Is it cold there in New
it's
York?
not bad. I just got a little, but we're fortunate, right? It's like
Yeah.
November,
I know, right? Yeah. Well,
so
thank you so much, love. I
thank
want
you,
to bring
ladies.
you on again. We definitely have to do this again. Thank you so much. See you later.
Thank
Be
you. Love
safe,
and
okay?
blessings to you, and stay
Love and
safe
blessings to
and
you too. You
Thank
bet.
protect
you,
your
Miss
kids, Mama
Stacy.
Bears. Thank
That's
you.
right. See you
Yes.
later.
All right, bye
Awesome.
bye.
Bye bye. So awesome, right? So,
That was
wow.
good.
She basically said the same stuff you said.
Yep,
You
I
know?
like the way she did it. She just, whited it up. That's what I just
Yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, she
I
did. She
love
kind
it.
of she just went there like it's the and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, that's very similar to all that she said for the last hour,
Cause I'm so
right?
animated. I
No,
know people be like,
but you're
ooh,
telling, but
Nisi
this is
going
how,
home.
this is you telling your truth though, and
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
It's
Because
the
you know what it,
truth.
yeah,
It is the
yeah,
truth. And I tell them all the time, the only reason why I have a story is because you wouldn't do something about me.
right,
You didn't fix my issue. You left me to rot. You
yes,
left me to figure it out on my own. And when I did, because the expectation was just death,
yeah,
now you mad.
yeah.
But the Bible says, little by little will he draw out the enemy, little by little.
And so you went to the service.
I
Which
did.
branch? Which
United
branch?
States Navy proudly served
Navy.
my country. Yes, I did.
Well, thank you so much for your service. Thank you, thank you. How many
Thank you. I
years?
served again 8 years.
8 years. So
Honorably.
that day changed your life, Dr. Nisi.
Yeah. I mean, because you got to understand something. I was already in a position of submission. It was just that what I had submitted myself to was something evil. I had to retrain myself
Right.
to submit to something that was going to position me for life and not for a temporary circumstance.
I
And you
believe it
gotta,
pit, you
and
know?
even I'm gonna put it in perspective like this. Even the animals refused to argue with Noah about his
That's right.
decision when he
That's
said,
right.
"Come get on the boat."
Yeah, they just follow suit.
Baby, when you in the military, you refuse to argue
That's right. That's
about
right.
your future
That's right.
because you didn't have one planned out for yourself anyways. And so the military will get you to a different dimension through different extensions. That's why they
Mhm.
have so many different things that you can pilot your positioning and strategy for. You can be a police officer, you can be a craftsman, you can be a boatsman, you can be a marksman, you can do all of this stuff. You could go make bombs, you could deactivate them, you could go be on the submarine, you could be a quartermaster. There's so many different things that you can do and be in charge of. And
That's
they
right.
give you that leverage. The only litany test that is required when it comes down to the military is honor, courage, and commitment. The
Right.
same litany test to follow Christ.
Right.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
There,
Absolutely.
there is no difference. So you
You
don't
know
you
what?
don't have to question it.
You
That's
know
why
what
I
I
love my military.
you know what I loved about your story too is you recognize the difference between God and the enemy, right?
Whoa,
You recognize the difference because let me
right,
tell you something. You know his voice. He trusts
right,
you with his word. And you were able to say, I know this is not your will, God. But
right.
you had to submit to that. because he used it. He
Right.
used it. All of it.
Right.
All things work to good and bad. And I think that
Right.
we sometimes forget that, because look at Joseph. Joseph would have never ended up in the palace if he hadn't stopped at the pit first. And
Right.
that's exactly what you had to do. But I have a surprise for you, because I have a guest here tonight who wants to say something to you.
Oh.
Hello.
Hey, sister. That is
Hey,
my
sister.
sister.
Hello. Just want to tell you that I am so proud of all of your work and your efforts, all of the things that you do for so many people, even for myself. The things that you give back and bring to the community, to different states, to different forums and platforms. Just sharing loud and not being afraid, being a voice for so many that are afraid to speak or that are even voiceless in the midst of just being missing through the sex trafficking. As you all know, I am also a survivor of not only domestic violence, but labor and human trafficking. I was trafficked by a pimp as well
She
at
was.
a young age. And so it's very, very important and a factor to me as well to see the works that my sister do. So I love you and I am so proud of you.
I love you. You mean the
Uh,
world to me. That's my heart. And I remember when I was coaching Kia early on, I remember talking to her and she was like, Nisi, I'm ready to tell my story of human trafficking. And we had to have a real diehard. And the issue wasn't telling the story about human trafficking. She wanted to talk about human trafficking, domestic violence. She wanted to talk about all of it. And I remember, and we all go through that phase. We all do. I
right.
even went through
Right.
that.
Hmm.
But the thing was, the coaching part came in. Who do you want to represent in its totality? Whose voice do you want to raise up? Because this means the absolute world for you. And she did it with domestic violence. And when I tell you she's done an absolutely marvelous job, not only listening to the prophet, following direction and going. I mean, the girl, she came out here to Houston, got a job working in the field that she wants to, raising not only her voice but the other women's voices, working with my
Amen.
sister in Christ. Oh my God, Dr. Conti took my baby on, took Kia on, and I thank you so much, Dr. Conti, because she didn't have to do that. Kia is
Amen.
now on her way to getting her own home, and she's also now a foster mom herself, and
Yay.
just working on some stuff, and correcting that situation so that the children are prepared for war because they know Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Because when
right.
you don't know Christ, you can't prepare to. Remember, the Bible says to train up a child. He didn't say nothing about raising him. He said train up. So how do you
Train them.
train up?
Mm-hmm.
Train.
You see what
Got to
I'm saying?
teach
You
them
got
about
to
him.
train. You got to teach them
That's it.
Yeah.
how to strategize for war. So to see her be a new mother in a new way, I really enjoyed that. She is walking out the word of God with her life, and she knows how to take direction. And I so honor you, Kia, because you check me. When I see you, you check me because you remind me that when I don't open my mouth, that there's somebody who won't get free because I didn't say something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so I thank you for checking me and saying, "Look, Dr. Hampton, this is what you did for me, but here I am." And I'm also saying to you as well as to the Father all over again. I submit to you again. I submit to you. I surrender to you again, to the Father, to you,
Mm-hmm.
to the Father, to you. And I have to make that clear because the Bible says that when you deny him in front of your friends, he'll deny you before the Father. And I want to make sure that there's no denial process here.
That's
We
Mm-hmm.
right.
forget that when Jesus was going through, remember there was a man who had them demons filled up in him, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody wanted to go around him. The demons said to them, once Jesus came, they said, "Look, we submit. Cast us into the pigs."
Mm-hmm.
Why would the demons, not only they didn't ask him, they did. They said, "Will you cast us into these pigs?" Not only did they ask him, but they had already given themselves a place to go. Why? Because even demons want a vessel. Even demons don't like to roam. Think
Mm-hmm.
about that. They don't like to
Mm.
wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that we have some vessels that are mature, that are ready to take correction, that are ready to go in a place of obedience and abide unto the Father, where they can live rich like Kia. And I hope I get some more Kias that are ready to break out into their wealthy place, because there's no way Kia would have the response in her life that she has if she went talking to somebody wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay?
right.
Mm-hmm.
If it
Absolutely.
had not happened for me already, I couldn't birth that out into her. I can't
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
birth the house in somebody that I ain't never birthed out for myself.
That's right.
And so that is the strategy of the Father. And we need to practice studying the Father's strategy more than we do the enemy's strategy,
Mm-hmm.
because we keep getting caught up and we keep being a witness for the enemy more than we are for the Father. So I'm saying this to say, Kia, thank you for being a witness back to me, to the Father. That
Amen.
his system worked, not that Nisi worked. His system
That's right.
works. His
That's
That's
right.
direction works.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
His
Yeah.
divine atonement, it works.
It works. Yes,
Thank you
it
for
does.
Yeah.
bringing clarity to the people's choice and to the people's voice, because sometimes we don't understand, we don't know if something works, and everybody want do the credit work, do the housing work, do this work, do it. No, did it work? Absolutely it worked. So I thank you for using your voice to testify to the goodness of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Now she came
Amen.
on to blow you up. And look
Oh,
what she did.
Oh, this is how we do. We be on the phone for hours, 2, 3 in the morning, just
yes,
Well,
going
ma'am.
now I'm gonna get real country right here. Why I right? Because she was so eager to come on and just love on you and just be like, oh yeah, I would love to come on there and surprise her. And say,
Yes.
because Nakia is gonna be on the Ella Johnson show on Thursday night
Mm-hmm.
sharing her story. So we are excited about that as well. But I think this is just so beautiful because you guys are just you got it out, Nakia, but she
Yes.
just took it. This is a warrior right here.
Yes, she is.
Her skin is in your blood. You can't even when I see the hat, I see a warrior. I'm like, oh
Come
yeah, she
on. Yeah,
she
I
didn't
put
come.
my game face on.
Yes, you
Because
did.
some stuff, some of this
Yes,
stuff you dealing with demons, you gotta be, he said put on the helmet. Okay? He said put on the breastplate. He said put on the belt. So I had to get up and put my stuff on. I had to get my shield, because this is not one of them type of adversaries that you want to play with or that you want to be
say that.
lenient with.
Yes.
Say that.
And we
This
have
Say
is
to
a
that.
real
understand
arena.
where we're at
Yes.
in life. The Father is not dealing with our domestic affairs anymore. We need to be prepared for spiritual warfare.
You
Yes.
better say
You need
that.
to get ready. I know
Mm-hmm.
I had a CPS case 8, 9 months ago, and the Lord handled that, and He handled it in its entirety, and it was finalized. I didn't have to do nothing. So I thank you. I thank you, Father. I give you all the glory and the honor and the praise
Mm-hmm.
that he handled my lightweight. But we got to get to a place where we're really casting our cares and our crowns. We've been telling girls to wear crowns for a real long time. Wear your crown, queen. Wear your crown. See, somebody can't walk up to me and call my daughter a queen. Because if you call her a queen and she accepts it, then you're going to reduce her producing side. You're going to reduce her processing time.
Mm-hmm.
The time that it takes for her to be a princess and the time that it takes for her to be a lady, you're going to take that away from her because you're going to give her a crown before her time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
I
Yes,
have
putting
sir.
one
things
more.
in my children's hands anymore before it's their time. And see, I let that
Amen.
happen with my sons, and I didn't realize I was doing that. Letting people, let my aunties and their grandmothers and all of them, they was putting keys. Even if it was wisdom, it was before their time. They
Yeah.
was putting this stuff in their hands. They was driving not just vehicles, they was driving life before its time, because I was allowing my kids to respond to things
Right.
that was above their head, that was above their mental capacity to receive. And instead of me
Right.
calling it out, oh, I thought it was cute. Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's no, cute turned into crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Cute turned into out of control. it's not cute no more. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to stop playing with that spirit of
Mm-hmm.
infirmity. I had to stop playing with the spirit of perdition. Perdition. I had to stop doing it. Okay, and we
So
have to
guys,
counter those things.
right.
And when we don't know no better, we don't do better. I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
That's
we don't
right.
know no better, we don't do better. We keep rehearsing the same thing. I did not know that my success story was gonna be in my mouth because of what I claimed the Lord to be for me in my life. I did not know
Right.
that my success was gonna come through my faith and not through my failure. I did not know that I was
Mm-hmm.
going
Right.
to have to announce that I have arrived. I
Yeah.
did
Right.
not know that I was going to have to decree and declare some things. I did not know that I was going to have to go on a 3-day Esther fast. Remember,
Right.
Kia, when I went
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Esther fast and people
Yeah.
thought I was crazy because I was teaching people
Guys,
Teaching
about
them.
Easter? They said I was crazy. They was like, "Oh my God, Nisi going in," but we don't understand this. It was
but
too much for them.
guys, I have another surprise.
Okay,
Oh my God. I'm sitting here. I'm like, is she? I have another surprise. Listen, this person here is an activist. She's a community activist, journalist, a counselor, DWI education intervention instructor, board member for Emerging Grace Ministries. She is a safe home for adolescent girls who are survivors of sex trafficking. My friend, too, and your friend, welcome to the Ella Johnson Show, Jennifer.
Jennifer. When I heard Emerging Grace, I said, that's Jen.
that's Jen.
Hey.
Hey,
Yes,
Jen.
that is
Aw.
my sister.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes.
These are my
Well,
prayer
I could
warriors.
not, I know I could not have this show without Jennifer being here because she is the one that brought all of us together, guys. And
Yes.
Yeah.
she has done an amazing job for the Ella Johnson Show, bringing me good, quality, wholesome people like y'all. And I am just honored. Jennifer, I love you. I love all the good that you are doing in this world, girl. It
Yes.
is amazing. And I'm so, so proud of you. But you're here because you wanted to bless Miss Dr. Nisi, but I couldn't get. She was about ready to preach, girl.
Oh, well,
I
I'm telling
thought
you,
we were
she'll
getting
take
ready.
off in the spirit at
I
any
was
minute.
waiting on the collection plate in a minute. So go ahead now. You can share because we have like literally 2-3 minutes, guys, left.
I just want to say that I'm so proud of you, and Nisi has just been a blessing for me. She used to call me out of the blue and tell me I'm thinking about you, and I would literally be driving down the road and she would be praying over me, and
Mhm.
Oh,
um she
awesome.
like she was there when I really needed it, and and I don't think sometimes like we get into the habit of uh of doing things and we don't realize how much we actually impact people.
Mhm.
Yes.
And sometimes
Amen.
we see people
Amen.
and they just come and go. We don't get to see the
Yeah.
the after. And I want to say that I'm proud of you. And you said it right before I got on, your the experience that you had with CPS. I was there for that. And
Yes, she was.
she has lived by what she teaches, and I think it's very important, because I'm super big on practice what you teach.
Yeah.
How can you
All right.
talk the talk if you're not willing to,
What?
if you're not going to
Walk
walk
the
it
walk.
yourself? Yes,
That's
ma'am.
Mhm.
right.
So yes, I love you ladies, and you two kid, like y'all just you inspire me. Y'all know some of my personal experiences,
Mhm.
and in this journey that I've been on. And y'all keep me going. You keep pushing me by seeing the stuff that y'all are doing. So yes,
Awesome.
I wish you
So
nothing but the best.
so
I
let's
love you.
celebrate Dr. Nisi. I want to show some pictures here so you can share with everyone what this is.
Oh,
Look at you there. Awesome. Then I have this picture here.
oh
This is a
wow.
reminder that takes us back. Then we have the
Oh,
Good.
youngins. Yes.
her
I
whole
saw
soccer
this,
team.
Jennifer. I
Yes.
saw this. I said, I got real country. I said, all those kids can't be hers. So I'm just gonna pull this picture up and she'll point out because some of those gotta be some nieces or some nephews or something.
Them
Because
all
they
her
are
All her
all
children.
hers.
kids,
All her
all her
children.
children.
Beautiful. And look at them. They are beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful babies. All right. And then there's you there. I said, look at her with this dress on, all them thighs. That's all I
That's
see,
me,
thighs.
Kathy.
I love it. I love it.
Oh man,
And
that's me and my friends from Goya. Yeah.
yeah.
That's my
So we
baby.
just
That's the one. That's the
yes.
one who was taken by the guy.
I figured
Look at
that.
him
I figured
now.
that. Look at him now. And that's you
Wow.
Yes.
in action. That's you in action.
She
But
is
before we
not
get out
playing
of here,
games.
before we get out of here, guys, I want you guys to know that there are programs available out there. The Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking, Journey Out. So you guys can Google some of this stuff. And then, of course, we have the number scrolling across the screen, the 188 number, which is the National Human Trafficking Hotline. If you or someone you know is a victim of human trafficking, please let's not be silent about this. But I can tell you one thing that I've learned. You guys have taught me a lot tonight, and I see that we have to fix the system before we can
Yes.
fix trafficking. That's
Yes.
what it seems like to me. Seems like that's where the root is, the root of
Hmm.
the problem.
And getting the
So
right
I am
people in position.
uh-huh. Well,
Absolutely. I
you
do want to
guys are a
say
great
something
team.
real
Yeah.
quick.
Uh-huh.
You know what? There's a really big misconception when it comes to trafficking. It's not you know the little kids go get picked up at the bus stop and thrown in the white van. A lot of times children are groomed at school. You know, they're picked up by their friends, and and slowly, you know, they might run away from home. They're reported as runaways, and you know they might be calling their families, keeping in touch with their families, and uh you know those are situations that also need to be taken seriously, because as parents and as society we have an obligation to our children, especially the children that are in trouble.
Hmm.
and and I think that's something that a lot of people need to know, especially when it comes to law enforcement um and family members. Educate yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen.
Well, Dr. Nisi, you are the woman of the hour. I let you have the last word before we get out of here. Please send us home. I want you to encourage the people when it comes to sex trafficking, what they should look out for. Because we established at the beginning of the broadcast that their children need to be covered. First, we got to introduce God to them before we
Hmm.
do anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So take us home.
Um, in Texas, and I'm not in. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. My phone fell. I'm
It's
not in
okay.
Florida, but I wish I had more statistics. Right now, there are over 35,000 Texas children that go to school, less than 1,000 feet of a massage parlor, illegal massage parlors.
Oof, Jesus.
91% of students, children, actually already know who their pimps or their traffickers are. Only 9% of traffickers are actually strangers. While we just talk about traffickers, we think that they are adults, we forget about peer-to-peer abuse, and that's what Jennifer was talking about. It can happen with, peers. There are different types of pimps as well as type of trafficking techniques. One of those is the social media pimp, and that was something that I discovered and gave to the world, a social media pimp, because we wasn't thinking about how to call persons who are luring and trafficking our children from online platforms using infomercial information that comes on and disappears, like Snapchats, or you can even do it through messengers, things like that, to that nature.
Hmm.
But I also want to tell you that, every day is a risk for me, a risk that I'm willing to take as long as children are safe. And I'm gonna tell you something I always tell my children. I say it everywhere it is I go. You are born looking like your mother and your father's, but you die looking like your decisions.
Amen. Oh,
And I
that's deep.
want you to live life right.
Amen. I just I don't want this to go by. Um, Tatum, Kathy, photographers are doing senior pics, telling high school kids to meet at hotels for free pics.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Times have changed since I've been out of high school. Listen, parents, you have to be involved. And I think that one of the things we're allowing social media to raise our kids, we got to do better.
Yes.
We have to do better because it's nothing. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say my age here, but um when I was growing up, we didn't have any of this social media, phones. If you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to pick up the phone and call them, or go to their house, or wait your turn in the house to get the phone. And now we have just gotten away so much from the basics. And now we have this problem, and it looks like this problem is way bigger than just, it's going to take spiritual warfare, because we are
Yes,
this. That's what I see with sex trafficking.
it
This
is.
is a spiritual warfare beyond what we could have ever thought. I uncovered so much today as I was researching this topic. I said, no, we can't just stop with one show. We have to keep talking about this. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have to keep talking about this. This is a big, big deal. So I thank you guys so much. He said, me either, not even a house phone. Oh, well, I was fortunate I did have a house phone. Um, Nisi, we just had this conversation about payphones.
Yeah, we
Eric,
did.
yes.
Me and Erica, she's a really
Yeah.
good sister
Well,
of
listen,
mine.
guys, it has been wonderful. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Thank you for my surprises, for showing up and being here. I love to make sure that my guests get their comments up here before we end the show. Devonda, I've always told my kids that you were born looking like your parents, but not looking like your decisions. That's a powerful word my granny implanted in me as a teen, and it stuck with me forever. Good word, Nisi. I think that's a great way to end the night. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before we get out of here? All minds and hearts satisfied. Now, if you,
I love
if you,
y'all.
Love
I
you.
if
love
you
Bye,
you too.
y'all.
I love
love you
everybody.
guys. All right. Thank you so much. And tomorrow night, guys, we will be back right here on the Ella Johnson Show. Tomorrow night's topic: men cry too. I have a young man, Charles, that's going to be on here sharing his story about this same thing, CPS, and how he's fighting the system to have his kids returned. If anyone wants to return to that tomorrow night, you guys are more than welcome. But I also have Butter the Preacher. Michael Watson is going to be here. And this young man lived a life of drugs. He ended up getting run over by a drunk driver, just basically
Mm.
left there to die. He turned his life around. Now he is the hip hop gospel artist, musician of the year, right? He is
Wow.
doing it for God now. So amazing, amazing. We have great shows next throughout this entire week. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you again tomorrow night right here on the Ella Johnson Show, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. We'll see you tomorrow night. Y'all have a
Bye.
great evening. Love y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.